Well, gwan masses, Dapper here, and welcome back to the One Name Podcast. Today, I know it's a little late on our episodes. They haven't been coming or arriving as frequently as I would like, but having a newborn and trying to get a moment of quiet to record is a little more challenging than I thought. Also, just matching up the schedule with Mr. Hot Skull. Boy, I have to do it now, I forget the content to you, and couldn't miss dropping an episode after all the sports that happened this weekend. So here we come live and direct. And just to start out, we usually start out our format with the FPL countdown in our personal mini league. Truthfully, if we have any listeners outside of our friend group, they don't know what we're talking about. So a slight adjustment there. What we're going to do is our FPL moves of the week. For one of my parties in the mini league, he actually tripled up on Arsenal versus Man U today. Now, granted, he's a Man U fan, but it turned out to be a brilliant move with the exception of Martinelli. When we first saw his squad after the deadline passed, we wasn't sure what to happen, but Odegaard ended up getting an assist, and Saka ended up scoring, and that was a difference maker for him in his matchup. And not to pat myself on the back, but in my matchup, I was able to bring in Mitoma for Almiron. I was peeping the trends, and Almiron has been active but not productive. So made the switch to Mitoma, and he proved my faith correct. Got a return, should have gotten an assist for March. That would have changed a couple of the FPL matchups in the league, but March wasn't able to put it away. But Mitoma has just been the danger man since he started starting, which is probably since Trossard got put down, even before that, or transfer, I shouldn't say put down, so like a dog dead or something. But yeah, so Mitoma, he did me well, and the exact points I'm leading by in my matchup right now is the 10 that he gave to me. Truthfully, if I had Almiron, I'd still be leading, but it looked nicer when you have a little buffer. So brilliant move there. Moving on, though, we're going to go straight into the Premier League, and the biggest matchup of the weekend was, of course, the old school Premier League derby, the one that matters more than most, honestly. That's Arsenal versus Man U. We came into that game, I wouldn't say, let me fix that. Arsenal came into the game looking to avenge the only loss that we gave them on the season. They felt hard done by some of the decisions that we got at home, especially the overturn of the Martinelli goal, yada, yada, yada. The fact that they did play, they had more possession than us, but we were more clinical. And it was really their only blemish on their record so far this season. I don't know how I would deal with some of my Arsenal bridging them if they were unbeaten at this point in the season. But, they had that in their mind, and we walked into the Emirates with a plan as per Ten Hag. But really, a part of it was he wants to instill a fearless attitude into the group. But when the game starts, that got dashed away, because the same possession dominating that Arsenal had on us at Old Trafford, they brought again now, but they're buoyed by their home crowd. And trust me, them there roll ball from minute one. Everyone that know ball game or watch a thing knew to expect that. So we were saying, as long as we hold off, don't concede, then eventually we will grow into the game. And so we did. I would say, for the most part, that was our best half. I won't say we dominated that half, but we were playing really well. It pretty much felt like the second half of the Old Trafford game. And then Mr. Rashford felt like, yo, he should be in the Ballon d'Or conversations. And he took what is right now a top three defensive midfielder in the Premier League and made him look like a fool. Saladed him and cracked it from 40 on probably the best English keeper in the league right now. And it was a beautiful goal to see. From there, that was probably that, and another opportunity that he created was probably the best of Rashford in the game. But man, his mind is on fire. After that, Arsenal of course, in response, took over back the game. For the most part, I would say Wan-Bissaka had Martinelli in his pocket, right? Can't say as much on the other side, but we'll get to Shaw and them player ratings later. But set piece and certain things happened, and Wan-Bissaka ended up on the left side of the field. Me not make excuse for professional baller, but when you play a certain way, you're used to people being behind you. That's why you have centre backs that prefer to play either on the left or right centre back. But him used to being a right back. If somebody's behind him, he'll get a shout. Hey, whatever. But he ended up on the left side of the field. Honestly, it just looked like he did last. And then Ketia snuck in and put the ball in the back of the net. Well worked goal. But it felt like, honestly, when it went to halftime, it just felt like a defensive lapse is what gave Arsenal them goal back. Good goal, but defensive lapse. Like, other than that, they never had that quality of a chance. Then the second half start. And them months, I don't know if they side them get the same team talk. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Rashford did have Ben White, a spin like gig all over the place. It was crazy. Second half, forward, Ben White get taken off, Tomiyasu forward. And I can't say Tomiyasu did better, but the team as a whole, Arsenal midfield, just run the game the whole second half. They got a worldie, but can't say the same about Rashford goal. Worldies happens when players are at this level. So Saka get a worldie. He does what Saka does. He tees with the ball. Am I going byline? Am I going inside? You don't know it. Saka is now learning how to play like Robin. I wish Anthony would learn some of that, but again, get the player ratings in a bit. So he tees the ball, cut inside, and once he cuts inside, especially with the overlap, his duty then falls on our left side, the defensive midfielder, if you want to call him that, which is Eriksen. And Eriksen couldn't mark a page. That man there, no, it just don't work. He's quicker, he's moving faster, you know what I mean? And took 2 steps inside Eriksen and put him foot through it. And he mark off the square upon the net in the goal where that thing was going. And there was a really good goal. So they went up 2-1. From there, again, they might dominate with possession. We ain't do nothing in the second half. The midfield just did look dead. And at one point, we actually put on an extra midfielder. And it just wasn't working. We took off Anthony and put on Fred, but it just wasn't working. We couldn't, even with the extra numbers, we couldn't seem to get any kind of possession. We ended up getting, we feel like, a lucky goal off a mistake for Ramsdale. Should have catch the ball, slip out time hand, Butcher do a madness because Jano, the man have bandage on him head and still head the ball, score. First goal for Man U, great celebrations. And then the man them quit. Again, so reached the player ratings, but man, I don't know what happened. It's like them just concede, say, we're done. We are not going to try to win. And they gave a possession-based team all the possession. it was an inevitability that a goal was going to score. When it reached the 90th minute, Odegaard got the shot, and Ketia, who's been playing like Pipo Inzaghi, did another madness, sneak in and deflect the ball at the goal. VAR looked at it, gave it to them, 3-2 win, all 3 points to Arsenal. Extend their lead to 11 points over us, but truthfully right now, their competition ain't us. For them, they extended their lead back to 5 points above City. But here's another gut punch. Reason being, no, we went through the same thing 4 days ago. Play Crystal Palace. Don't kill off Crystal Palace. They have play around, a fuck around, dance around, whatever you want to call it. Get Casemiro, get a yellow card. Why? Because we're not up 2 goals and Crystal Palace still thinks there's something in it. Zaha, their most dangerous player, breaks away. Casemiro said, we'll take 3 and I'll take the yellow. Well, unfortunately, no. Because in the 92nd minute, Olise from 30 yards, another worldie, put the ball off the bar in the top corner. So we lost 2 points there, right? We beat City, lost 2 points there. So all right. City then beats Tottenham. Then we forward to the weekend now, we have to play Arsenal. Demand them again, I hold on to the draw. And Ketia now scores. So in the span of 3 days, a 5-point swing between City and Arsenal. In 3 days. Like, it don't make no sense. Like, truthfully, all right, if I was looking at the fixtures beforehand, I would have said, as a pessimist, draw or lose to City. Beat Palace. Whatever result we can get from Arsenal. But we beat City, draw Palace, and then lose Arsenal. So essentially it's the same amount of points. Because if the order had changed round, City beat we, still draw with Palace. But Palace is the one we should have beat Palace, and then they come back again and bite we again because we weren't being positive late on for go get the points. Now, going to the ratings first, I think this is one of the first games Mr. Ten Hag got it wrong in a while, right? Our team selection was as strong as he could have made it. But I feel like he tried to force... Weghorst had a good game, right? But I feel like he tried to force the Weghorst being a number 9 as a feature of Man U too much. Like, we were winning with using Rashford and Garnacho and like different combinations of Rashford up top. Weghorst never needed to play 90 minutes. Don't get me wrong, what he was out there to do and occupy the 2 center backs, he did that well. But we are more cohesive without him in there. We could have done what we did when we played them at Old Trafford, which is go to the counter football, bring on Garnacho. So I think substitution-wise, we got it wrong. The Fred substitution made sense. He should have did it maybe 10 minutes earlier, but it made sense. Even when he brought him on, nothing really changed. But at the point that we got the goal from Butcher, we should have put on Garnacho. And don't worry about Weghorst trying to play a hold-up ball. We should have been going for speed and hitting Garnacho and hitting Rashford with those long balls over the top. There's 2 ways you can hold up the ball. You can either hold it up by putting it in the corner, or you have the big man there, Sheila, but nobody not do that no more. Like a hole and a Sheila off and bring everybody in the play. Nah, dog, you should have definitely brought on Garnacho a lot earlier. So right there, he got it wrong. And then it feel like because he didn't make that substitution earlier, we're going for the draw. That's not the mentality. It kind of contradicts a lot of what he says, that he wants to win or whatever. Now, I get it. Nothing was working, and the player then wasn't matching your energy for 85 out of the 90 minutes in the game. But sometimes as a coach, you have to force the issue. You have to make the changes and have to push it. And But now make no excuse for the personnel that we have because the CM with Arsenal man them were saying where who they brought to Old Trafford when they played. You play wood up on the field, but some of the changes and substitutions that we should have made, we didn't, and that cost us. Weghorst, as I said though, decent game. Rashford, first half was electric. Second half, he got kind of not marked out of the game, but we had no midfield control to get the ball to him. Bruno was great. A lot of running. Ericsson was invisible. He should have came off way, way early. I feel like the move should have been Ericsson for Fred. That should have been the sub. Keep Anthony on because even though he had a slightly frustrating game, he was, very tricky, very jiggy. And at least he gave us some speed. But yeah, Ericsson, not a good game for him. But we know that when we're defending, he shouldn't really be on the field. It's really when we have possession that he can unlock and get the space to do what he needs to do. Anthony, the man of the moment. Not even the man of the moment. The topic at the moment. I don't get all the hate for Anthony. Don't get me wrong. He can't be compared to Saka. He can't be compared to Foden. But Anthony's doing fine. Like he's pressing well. It's in possession that I feel like some of his decision making isn't there at a level that we would want. He's still dangerous. He has more goals than a lot of people think this season, especially for his first season in the Prem. Yeah, the price tag kind of hits, but you look at some of the other dudes that are 100 mil, and he's performing fine. Now, you look at our squad, and you would expect him to be playing better than like a Garnacho, but there's also so many people missing. Like Sancho should be kicking on, you know what I mean? Martial should be a leader. So I'm not really mad at him when we're in crisis mode and playing a game every 3 days. Do I want better? Yes, but all this hate, like the commentators today were just on him for every little thing he did or didn't do. Let's load him on. You know what I mean? Like first season, he's playing well. Now if he kicks on from here, actually I always believed, and man, shut up. I have no problem with what Anthony is doing. Do I want better for him? Yes, but is he trash like everybody's trying to make him seem? No. Now, would he start over Saka for Arsenal? No, but would he get game? Hell yeah, he'd get game. He'd start for Chelsea. He wouldn't start for City, but he'd get game same way. He wouldn't start for Pool because Salah over there, but he'd get game like, man, all the money, he ain't as bad. Like there's certain other man will get by that ain't doing nothing right now for them side. So I don't understand the hate. McTominay was quiet, which is what I want from McTominay because sometimes he's a agent of chaos like a Mr. Abayi, but it's just you can really see the difference when you have Casemiro versus when you have the great value Scottish international, whatever country you come from. He's just thanks for running about for 90 minutes, but yeah, it's just not good enough anymore. Like now that people know better, people that only watched the Prem and didn't rate Casemiro when he was winning all them Champions Leagues and beating English teams in this Champions League, now you see like, oh, there's a clear difference. Our defenders were fine. There's nothing they could have did for the first goal. There's nothing they could have did for the second goal. Wan-Bissaka messed up on the first goal. Second goal was Saka being Saka. Third goal was Nketiah being opportunistic. Shaw had I won't say he had a bad game. Like, I feel like people are not thinking of Saka at the levels that he's at. Like, Saka right now he's starting in a lot of the best teams in the world. Like he's playing for one of the best teams in the world. Saka, yeah, we gave him some space because Shaw realized Saka faster than him. You know what I mean? Like if they got close, we were defending close. We were organized, but big teams play big teams. They're going to score. So, Saka hitting a worldie from 25. I mean, other than that, Saka's going to be dangerous. So I don't think he had a bad game. Was it a great game? No. Was it a good game? No. Was it okay? But he didn't have a bad game. Wan-Bissaka, again, I said, other than the laps, he had a good game myself. Our two center backs, they were decent. I mean, Nketiah was just opportunistic. There's, again, in terms of our organization and how we had it, we made some sloppy mistakes in terms of possession, and I think our mentality wasn't there. But it was a good game, man. It was one where we were outclassed. Let's put it like that. We just didn't have enough to match what Arsenal had going on. And you might want to call it luck. You want to call it, we were weakened because we didn't have our full squad, but we were outclassed, and that's why I'm going to leave that. Last note for me is we really need a number 9 next year. I want what Martial brings with a cheaper contract and healthy. That's what I want. Martial should not get a contract extension for Manuel, and I'm gonna leave that there. I think that should be it for me with the squad, and the title challenge that we started last week is now dead this week. I think that point gap is too much. 11 points, even with half the season to go. 50 points from 19 games is absolutely crazy. Yeah, that's mad. The only people that can catch them right now is City. City played them twice. So if City beats them twice, they'd go up by 1. That's how my math, as of today, that's how my math is going. So we'll see how that go. But we're not in that right now. I think we're comfortably in the Champions League spots, which if I'm to stay consistent and go back to the start of the season, I didn't have Man U in the Champions League spot, so them making it there, is overachieving. And I think, what Ten Hag wants from this team, we're not there yet. Even though he didn't do a good job today for me with some of the substitutions, but give us another year. I think this is Arteta's 3rd or 4th season in charge, and he's finally getting the team to play how he wants with his personnel, and him and his sporting director are recruiting the right way, and he has a belief in his team. So hopefully Ten Hag gets that from this team, because I think he deserves it. One blip doesn't make me lose confidence, so we move. We keep it going. Speaking of City, Erling Haaland is officially not human. I mean, it wasn't a doubt before, but he's treating the Premier League like a schoolboy football. The man have 25 goals in 20 games. We're 1 game over the halfway mark, and he has 2 more goals than the Golden Boot last year. The record for the league is 30, 32, 33. Bro, with KDB feeding him and KDB are going to break the goals and the assist records this year, which is insane. Bro, it's funny. I was on social media the other day, and there's this really dope page called Pythagoras and Boots that I watch a lot of, and he gives player breakdowns and how they would fit into current teams or where the best fit for them. Really in depth, really, really a good watch. So you go check that out. I don't even know dude, but I just plug his channel because it's so good. And I asked him, yo, could you give me a video on Haaland? You know, yeah, he scores goals, but there's a thought process that he's making City weaker. He gave me a response, but it's like he didn't want to do it because I wanted to see more of his advanced stats, like his pressing numbers, his creative numbers, which are, I'm sure, non-existent. You know, his dribbling, which, again, non-existent. But after getting reminded today with his hat trick, it'd be a waste of a video. None of that matters, yo. The man just put the ball at the back of the net. Like, if I score more goals than you, does it matter that I'm not running? Does it matter that I'm not pressing? It doesn't. So, yeah, the man is a robot. Like, it just feels inevitable. Like when him up on the field. And, man, not gonna lie. Wish I had that at my new. But yeah, speaking of Pythagoras and Boots, a lot of what he does is break down for new transfers. So right now, the big team, them, a couple of them make a couple big moves right now in the January window. We have Manuel at Weghorst. I spoke about him already. Arsenal got Trossard from Brighton, which I think is a smart move, even though it doesn't kind of fit their recruitment strategy. Feels like a Willian move, but time will tell. He's performing well, but I don't think he'll get much game. Like, them man, they're going to play like Cup and them something there. Like, he's not going to be challenging Martinelli enough, even though Martinelli didn't have a good game, but I don't think Trossard can take his game at all. You have Gakpo at Liverpool. He feels like he's been there forever now because he's trash since he's been there. Thank you again, Liverpool, for saving us from buying him. At least I can say that at the moment. And then you have Chelsea, who loaned in Zhao, got Murderer Rick, Mudrick. They got Badio Shele, the French player the defender from Monaco. They got a couple other little pieces. Out of the attackers, though, I guess that would have been my question for you listeners: is who you think will be the first one to score? And honestly, the little preview I'm gonna say from Mudrick, he could have scored. Like, if he had got 90 minutes versus Milner, he could have definitely busted the net. Zhao, because he got that red card, he ain't playing again since till February. And I think, all the other signings, I played a couple more games till then, so hold off on them. Weghorst will play Palace next. Might be able to do it. Gakpo just looked dead. He just looked like a waste, man. That Chelsea-Liverpool game was a waste of time. So yeah, right now I'd go with one of the either Weghorst or Mudrick. So but between the two of them, if I'm gonna put my money, I'd say Mudrick, because I already saw Weghorst versus Palace and he didn't do much. So I'd say Mudrick for now. But yeah, give your thoughts in the comment section. I hit that one name IG and make we know about that. But speaking of Mudrick and Zhao, Chelsea just keep buying up ball, and it was a big topic of discussion for me, and I'm bridging them the other day, and because the Chelsea man and women know them not really, they've been hiding right now. The man they not Kiev on the dirt, and I really want to talk about them 10th place side, but Chelsea's plan looks scattered because they spent so much money in two windows. We are talking from Sterling, Fofana, Cucurella, Mudrick now as a confirmed signing. Then buying Kunku, who is currently injured. And it looked like them just a dash for money, right? But if you look on Chelsea's squad, because well, including the injuries, their squad isn't that deep. They're heavy in their wingers, but truthfully, they lost 2 starters, 3. They lost Alonso on the left. They lost Rudiger and Christensen. Those are 3 starters. Then you can essentially say they lost Kante because that man ain't play. It feels like in years now. And then up top, they got most of their players except for Werner. Werner was the one that was always healthy. So that's what they lost. They replaced Rudiger and Christensen with Koulibaly and Fofana. Fofana has been injured the whole year. So you're still missing a defender. You bought in Cucurella, but Cucurella wasn't supposed to start. It was supposed to be Chilwell. Chilwell's been missing the whole year. On the right side, your best player, Reece James, felt like he's been injured for half the year. Then you go into the midfield. I already spoke about Kante. But then that means that Jorginho is ever present. He was never good enough. Kovacic, again, sidekick players. Then Europe giving man like Loftus-Cheek and Gallagher game, not good enough. And then the player who I was giving ratings to for the longest time is now a shell of himself. That Monday is Mason Dele Alli. Mason Mount is a terrible player this season. Him and Son going through the CM sickness of loss of quality. I don't understand what's going on there. But yeah, so their midfield is hollow. There's no quality in their mid right now. And then you'll go on the front line. They brought in Aubameyang, but Havertz is, I can't say he's showing his quality, but Havertz is better than Aubameyang right now. Like, he worked better in the system. So Havertz took over that. No Werner though, he introduced a new dynamic in their center forward spot. Then out on the wing, brought in Sterling. He was playing okay, but no service, no movement. This ain't City. Ain't really work out for him. And get injured. Go World Cup, get injured. Then you have Pulisic, Mikota, wet tissue. Them man, they can't stay healthy. Then on the other side, you have ZH now take over the spot, but you know what I mean? Like, they haven't been cohesive all year. So they buying all these pieces and look like they're buying a lot, but them squad kind of thin, yo. Like, some of them money, if Havertz get injured and Aubameyang have to take over, they dead. If, you know what I mean? Pulisic already injured, but like, their squad not as big as we think that it is, but there's definitely going to be it's definitely going to be interesting to see how FFP is going to take a look at how they're going to do transfers in the summer. Like, after all this spending. And yes, I see what they're doing with these super long contract lengths. But are they going to be allowed to spend in the summer? Like, how that going to work? I'm going to really have to take a look at what they're doing. But in terms of their recruiting and how young they're going and who they're buying, it's not that for the manager, it might not be a plan. But for the coaching and what they're trying to do, I see it. Now it just have to work, and there's a lot of players that they need to sell. I think Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek, even Mount, them man they need to go. Pulisic need to sell. If you can recoup anything on Koulibaly, I would do it this summer too. Like a Koulibaly. Aspilicueta did say he want to go back to Spain, so let go him too. Just, yeah, they must have a fire sale, and if anybody want any of them players, you gotta lowball them. You have to lowball them. But not offer nothing more than like at 1/5 of their evaluation. Go upon it easy. Go upon transfer market, look upon it. Oh, Pulisic supposed to be worth 50 million. Well, I'm gonna offer 25. Because they're gonna want to get rid of him. keeping all of these players, especially when it looked like them not gonna make Champions League next year or even Conference League, it don't make no sense because them man they're just gonna get upset. Like you're paying all these high wages for players that are not giving you quality results. It don't make no sense. So in terms of what they're recruiting, in terms of it makes sense to me, but I don't know yet how Potter is gonna gel them together. I don't even know if he's gonna have the opportunity if it works something in the summer. I have a training camp with them Monday, but we shall see. Lastly, we're going to switch focus now to American Egg Ball. Hot Skull Team, the Giants, got thoroughly outplayed by the Eagles, but we don't celebrate anything we have to do with Philly over here. My team, though, the Cowboys, riding off into the sunset once again. Anybody who know me as a fan of the Cowboys on Egg Ball, no, say I have zero belief in them Monday. Every year, it's the same thing. Regular season darlings, and then when it comes to the postseason, it just not work. Like, I literally told people this. I'm enjoying the regular season, but as the postseason forward, it's over. And so said, so done. Lost again to the 49ers again. They did, once Pollard went down, it was over. But truthfully, once Jerry stayed the owner, it's over. And I will consistently say that. Jerry has to have no involvement with the Cowboys for the Cowboys to succeed. It's similar to how Ole was being puppeteered somewhat. Respect Ole, he did as well. But Ole was being puppeteered by the strings of our past glories while he was at Man U. And Ten Hag cut them strings and said, no, you have to get an entire new vision. That's the same thing that's happening with the Cowboys. As long as Jerry's there and he has his fingers in every department and recruiting and who we spending money on and extending, the Cowboys will never make that leap. Arteta and Klopp and Pep and even though Ten Hag, they push being mentality monsters, right? That starts at the top end. That starts with ownership. You require a certain standard. The 49ers have that standard. Arsenal are learning that standard. Man U are starting to open the book upon that standard. Cowboys don't have that standard. Cowboys, when the regular season are going, everything nice. Party, night, pasta, whatever you want to call it. Drinks are on, everything sweet. Jerry are everybody's friend. Postseason, you know what it seemed like? It seemed as if the quarterback or the players are Jerry. Jerry go in at the end of the season and say, well, we didn't win the Super Bowl, but if you look at our overall record, it's actually better. So look upon the overall record and say, all right, we went, we went 12-4 this year. We got one loss, so that's 12-5. Well, this was a great year. See y'all next year. I feel like that's what keep happening. Instead of saying nothing that you did in the regular season matters. We made it now to the real season. I need silverware. He's not doing that, and he's rewarding regular season play. I don't care. Nobody cares about regular season. Like, that's cool when your team is mid-table or trash. Like, oh, we got some wins. We got better. I'd rather us be good with a chip and then drop off and then rebuild, go with a chip, than for us to always be around 9, 10, maybe jump up to 12, 13 wins, go back down to 9, 10. No losing record or barely losing record, but we're never actually trash, but we never actually contending either. I don't like that, but that's the Cowboy fan life. That's how it is, and that's how it's going to stay as long as Jerry's there, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Please, again, remember to like, share, and comment. Follow the 1M IG, that's 1M Entertainment. We are also on Twitter. We're up on YouTube, which I will be posting as well. Make sure you like that as well. Listen, if you listen to it already on Spotify or Apple, just open the YouTube page, press play on the video, turn down the volume, just put on your phone, make it just run. Yeah, just make it get the listening time up on the YouTube page as well. And just share the thing. WhatsApp, Facebook, messaging, everywhere you want to share the thing. For the vibes for the week, boy. But right now, I just say, just a valiant around the thing from your turn, maybe even from the back end of last year. So, just anything valiant right now. Just getting at the roadman vibes and go and enjoy 2023 for me. But yeah, man, one.